Hello and welcome to Five Quadrant, the new movie business podcast from Father Son Productions. I'm Tom Noblock.
And I'm Chris Vega.
And this is a brand new show. And that's
it
weird.
Is. Yeah.
It's weird to have
it's
a new
not a
show.
first. I was going to say it's a first.
It's a first new show
yeah.
that we've done this year.
Because
we did a year and a half of vegetable lasagna. We're just coming off of Radio Lasagna.
Radio Lasagna is over.
It's at least on hiatus. It might come back at some point.
Yeah.
No guarantees.
Just for fun, maybe.
And this is kind of like the prologue to this new show, Five Quadrant, which is going to be talking about movie business, trends in the movie business, because I don't think there really is a good movie business show right now.
No, not really. It kind of just gets worked into like a small blurb with some other...
Yeah, and actually the best one that I ever found was the Rope of Silicon podcast, which was hosted by Brad Gervais, who got bought out by Box Office Mojo. Oh. And he took Rope of Silicon behind the farm one day and shot it in the head, and it's no more.
Jeez.
Yeah, but that was the best one, and so we're here to fill that void.
All right.
Are you ready?
I think I'm ready, yeah.
we got a lot of things we're going to talk about. Chris is going to go through the box office numbers this week and every week.
Oh, yeah.
We've got some other things that we're going to go through. But first off, I'm going to start with a little bit of a story that starts with a little bit of news from the last week. So,
okay.
Might have been a week and a half ago now. Yeah. Well, first off, Edward Albee died. That's where I wanted to
inform me. Who is Edward Albee?
Edward Albee is one of the best American playwrights.
I did hear about this. Okay.
How did you hear about it?
I've started listening to NPR. You know, so this is how I heard this. I've heard this every day. I guess the name had stuff for some reason.
Every day, Edward Albee.
You know, but yeah, I guess I've never seen the plays or read. I've never seen the movies.
My only like personal Edward Albee story that I have is when we were casting our movie adaptation, we went to see the play that Megan Friend was in at the time.
That's right, yeah.
The actress Megan Friend. And she was playing one of 4 roles in Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf at the local playhouse. And so we went down to go see it. It was Ben and I. We went down to go see Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf. And before that, we actually were at the preview screening, so it was the night before opening night. And Megan had heard in some circles, it was never confirmed or denied, that Edward Albee actually was coming to that one.
Oh, okay. He was going to be there.
I always get the word wrong. What's the word? The performance.
No,
I want to say screening every single time.
Oh, okay.
I can't get movie terminology out of my head. So we were under the impression that there's a possibility that Ben and I are sitting there and Edward Albee is in the audience.
Yeah, you could be behind him in the concession line or something. Yeah.
So we're looking around, and Edward Albee had kind of a long face, gray hair, and a mustache. He's an old man. There were about 12 of them.
Oh, no. He brought some body doubles to throw people off. You know?
Yeah, so we're looking around. The whole play, we're like, which one of them looks like he knows what's coming next? Which one of them's laughing?
He doesn't look surprised.
Yeah. Well, then, it's like he's either really loving it because it's exactly how he wrote it, or he hates it. Maybe it's that guy because he's not being used at all.
You snap pictures of all of them just so you can
So
line them up later.
We very well could have seen Edward Albee, but there were about 12 people that could have been Edward Albee there.
You should just give yourself the benefit of the doubt. I think every time, just say you saw him there.
I don't know which one he was, but I think he was there. Yeah. Well, but where I'm going to go with that, though, is I think that probably at most plays you go to, not in like Broadway, you could probably find a lot of Edward Albee lookalikes.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's the demographic. They're old people go to plays, right?
Especially in like Omaha.
Well, that's what. Yeah,
I mean, we kind of have like a small youth theater scene, but I mean, it's not like
for the classic kind of stuff, though. I mean,
it's going to be the older people.
And I don't know what exactly it is about plays, because I think that they're more focused on that sort of, it's like an adult drama kind of genre that you don't see a lot of, and I don't know what exactly makes that skew so old versus like why don't we go to plays? Why don't people who are younger go to plays more often? I mean, because I don't really know very many people who do.
I don't know. Besides, like there's always those few, like people who are in theater class and whatnot in high school, and they're probably still into all that. So,
outside of,
but I don't really, I don't talk to them very much. So I guess I don't really know anyone who goes to plays very often either.
People we may have come across in the past have gone to plays, but I think that the trend though that I'm talking about, I think it's indicative of movies at the same time though as well, because the type of movies that kind of have the audience. Well, basically, there are a lot of movies that old people go to that no one else really goes to.
Yes. One of them is on my list.
One of them?
Which, yeah.
I saw one of them, which is
kind of... Is it probably the one that I'm going to say? Yeah, okay.
And so, kind of where I guess I'm going with that is I went to see the movie The Light Between Oceans.
Oh,
I think this was like a week and a half ago. And I went by myself, and I was surrounded though by old women. No Edward Albee.
It's like,
but maybe Edward Albee's wife.
That French film, that film streams. There was just like old women in like windbreakers, and they're all like shuffling around really loudly.
I think my favorite thing about that is it's a bunch of old women, and then you and Will cracking lesbian jokes a little too loud every couple minutes.
I feel like it
was an interesting dichotomy.
Our jumping to conclusions was justified in a lot of the situations that were presented. So you can't really.
But that's exactly the kind of movie that you're not going to see. You're not going to see a lot of young people go to a movie like that.
No.
Why is that?
They don't even know what it is. That's probably what it is. I mean,
well, you knew what The Light Between Oceans was, though, because you made a little.
I think I saw like a trailer for it,
and it
looked pretty corny. Yeah,
why are we against corny now when we celebrated? If
it wasn't the kind of corny I like.
What kind of corny do you like?
I don't know. I like my cheesy comedies and whatnot, but not like
cheesy comedies. Okay.
Well, isn't it Light Between Oceans? It's like a romantic, not like romantic comedy, but I mean, it's like just like
it's an adult drama. I would say.
Okay, but I mean, it's not.
I think they advertised it emphasizing the love angle, but that's really
it looked
that's
like
the first
love
third.
Story movies.
There's a love story in it.
Well, I mean, there's a love story in a lot of movies, but still,
I guess where I'm confused though is why is corny okay if it's a muscular guy in tights fighting people, but it's not okay if people are like getting married or stealing a baby, which is what happens in that movie.
I mean, it's normal. Like, that's just what people do.
We don't like normal.
People get married and have children. Sometimes that's not necessarily what you want to watch in a movie.
In that movie, they steal a baby, though.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, that's what's more interesting.
It's like the serious Raising Arizona.
I didn't see that part, like, in the trailer. So, I mean, if I had known that, I'd be a little more interested.
It's like if Raising Arizona was a 70s drama directed by David Lean.
I watched Raising Arizona again recently.
It's a great movie.
It's fantastic.
And that's a corny in like the Coen Brothers kind of way, though. Where they've got a handle on it. Mm-hmm. And so we're gonna dive into what I think is part of the narrative of why those movies don't really get made anymore.
Okay, I think they do, but they just don't.
Not as much as they used to. You think even 10 years ago. And part of that is the fall of a couple studios. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because I'm going to tell that story in our third segment today. But before we get to that, you're going to go through third quadrant. Yeah. All the quadrants.
We can go through the quadrants.
This has been quadrant one. I hope you enjoyed it. And so,
welcome to Quad 1.
We're going to go to our first break. When we come back, Chris is going to run through box office and we're going to run through some notable movie business headlines from the week. And I guess I hadn't considered, what do we say right before we go to a break like that? Because we've never had a break like that.
See you on the other side.
See you on the other side. Today's show is brought to you by the Movies and Stuff YouTube channel, run by movie lovers Dan and Abe, who chat about the films they love and are often joined by actors, writers, and other people involved in making those movies. They've got a couple of recent interviews with people like Andrew Kevin Walker, Robert Engels, and Nicholas Winding Refn. You can check their live streams, interviews, reviews, roundtables, and panel debates every week by heading over to youtube.com/moviesandstuff. Subscribe today. All right, Quad 2. What do we got?
All right. Number 1 in the box office right now is Magnificent Seven.
And this is the weekend of September 23rd through the 25th.
Okay, yeah.
Just
I didn't even think to include that. I'm sorry.
We're still figuring out a rule series.
I just figured they'd assume it'd be up until this day.
Right, yeah. But, this dates our show more than anything else, probably.
It does, yeah.
So, just for those of you, if you're listening to this a year from now, you might want to know what day it was.
Don't know exactly what number 1 was.
You don't remember, and you want to know. Like you're listening to it a year from now. You're like, okay, well, on September 25th, here's what the estimate for.
Magnificent Seven was at $35 million apparently. Which
$35 million. And do you have any idea what the budget was on that?
I think I didn't see it. I think it was like $100 million. It seems like one of those.
Was it $100 million? See, that's huge for a Western. I think.
But it's a big new Western though. You know what I mean? It's one of those. It's like they took Django Unchained and kind of like tried to put out proportion. It's kind of the vibe I got.
I think Django was around $30 million, wasn't it? Or $40 million maybe when it opened.
Probably. Oh, $90 million. That was close.
$90 million for the Magnificent Seven though. Is
that's normal action movie budget nowadays? I think, isn't it? Like that's like.
Well, for a Western.
For a Roman epic such as Ben-Hur, $100 million. I mean, that's.
Those are bad business decisions, though.
They are, but I
think you're right about Django Unchained, though, because you bring in Denzel Washington.
Hey, that had a bigger budget.
You got.
I had no idea.
You have it's not so much Jamie Foxx bringing in the money there. It's just Tarantino and Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who's the guy in Magnificent Seven? It's not Jamie Foxx, is it? It's
Denzel Washington.
It's Denzel. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Django opened with $30 million. So this is actually above Django, but it's PG-13, whereas Django was R. Is my understanding.
Which is interesting. Don't they tell you it's the opposite, where usually the R-rated movies don't make as much as the PG-13?
Did I say that the wrong way? Django was R. Magnificent Seven was PG-13.
No, but still, didn't Django? You said.
No, Django
was $30 million. Sorry,
Django made $5 million less in its opening weekend, but it
probably flubbed there.
It ended up huge. It got $425 million worldwide.
That was popular though. That got popular quick.
I guarantee you that the Magnificent Seven is not going to be that big. It seems like people didn't really care that much. It was kind of just one of those,
Yeah.
$35 million for a $90 million movie just doesn't seem like it's that great. And the general formula you have if you want to see if a movie really made any money is you take the budget, or you take the box up, or God, I can't remember now.
Take the budget office.
You take the budget office and you
box it.
No, you take 2.5 times what they spent. If it made more than that, then basically it's hard to argue that it lost money.
Okay.
Because that
doesn't include all the money they spent on it, right?
Yeah, like, say for Django Unchanged, Django before he changed, so the $100 million budget that they have on Box Office Mojo is not going to count prints and advertising. Okay. So that's usually going to be more, probably around $50 million more, honestly. So for Django, if we're just looking at $100 million, if it made over $250 million, you could probably say it's hard to argue it didn't make money at that point. It made $425, so pretty successful.
That's a lot.
$90 million for Magnificent Seven. I don't know. That doesn't seem that likely to make money. And I didn't see it. Did you?
No, I don't really plan on seeing it either. I guess.
No, it just doesn't look that.
It looked boring. You know?
That's the kind of movie if it's on TNT someday and you're not doing anything, you might leave it on.
And then, like, a commercial break comes, you change the channel, and you forget about it.
Yeah, or you go back maybe a little later, and you see the ending.
And you still know what's going on, because nothing's happened.
But I guess Magnificent Seven is so done to death.
Yeah.
We've seen so many of these Seven Samurai Magnificent Seven things. I think after sitting through all of Seven Samurai, I never wanted to see another version of that story. And I liked Seven Samurai.
Yeah, but once you see it, you know
4 hours was enough of it for me. I'm good.
And, Magnificent Seven isn't 4 hours, so I don't see how it.
That's good.
Yeah. I wonder if they do the same setup with knocking the guys out when they walk into the
building. That's our favorite part. That's the part we always mention. Yeah. Okay, so what's number 2?
Number 2 is Storks.
Storks?
All animated film.
Yeah, I didn't see anything for it. I don't know.
I saw like a commercial or two on TV.
It did look like normal kids standard fare?
Pretty much. It's about storks who bring babies. But they don't bring babies anymore. I guess they're out of that job now, and then someone actually pushes the button to make another baby.
Wait, so what do?
They have to figure out a way to deliver it. But they aren't used to that. They haven't done that in a long time, I guess. So it's like...
Well, that's not quite what I was expecting.
I was like, that's weird.
That's directed by Nicholas Stoller,
who's that?
He made. I feel like he had Neighbors 2 out this year.
Really, that's weird.
It's a weird. Oh, he doesn't even come up on.
Spelling the name wrong. That is $21 million.
That is $21 million. He's kind of... I'm going to bring up his thing here so you can see. Nick Stoller's how he's going. So he first directed Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
Weird. And Get Him to the Greek.
Get Him to the Greek were his 2 ones. His big one. Then 5 Year Engagement. So actually, he made 5 R-rated comedies in a row.
Look, he switched studios too, so that might have been...
It was a different studio. Yeah, he made Universal for all the R-rated ones, but then he goes over to... Yeah, I mean, so I don't know. I don't know what the story is exactly for this one, but I do know he's coming off of the difference in the Neighbors movies is really kind of interesting to watch. It's more interesting probably to me than Storks, unless we see some crazy traction here.
I didn't watch the second one.
No one did.
No one. Okay.
Domestic gross on Neighbors number 1 was $150 million. Number 2 was $55 million. Worldwide, we're looking at $270 million for Neighbors 1, $107 million for Neighbors 2.
Jeez.
And people just shrugged it off. They did not care. So he's probably, it's probably something he's happy about that he's got this kids movie to fall back on because I feel
easy
like,
money,
yeah, I mean, they don't always make a ton of money, but you can probably count on a certain amount of money. What really blows my mind is. So, Sausage Party, they claimed that they only spent $19 million to make that. And usually when you look at these...
Didn't the animation people get screwed over, though? I thought I heard something about that.
You have to find that.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
I'm surprised you didn't hear about that. I figured that'd be something you'd done. I remember
No, I didn't hear anything about that.
Screwed out of overtime pay or something like that.
For $19 million.
There was some big drama about their pay, and I didn't read much
into
it.
You rarely see an animated movie not for $100 million. And Storks is $70 million, so... That's probably in that sweet range where they'll make enough. They've already made $40 million worldwide off of that, so they're probably okay.
Kids movies.
Yeah.
They always kind of make something. It's kind of,
that's like the motto for it.
Yeah.
For when you're trying to think of if you want your career to have a kids movie out.
Kids
movies, they always make something.
The kids don't care. They see the commercial and they're like, I want to see that. And like, even if it doesn't look good, they're still going to see it. So you get 2 immediate sales from the kid and the parent, like right off the bat.
And that's assuming that both parents don't go.
Yeah, right.
Or both kids.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, if there's even one.
If there's, yeah.
So
let's not assume that the one kid has taste.
But no, yeah, that's just the easy money maker. Number 3 is Sully. Got that $13 million cash coming in.
That's made a ton by now, hasn't it?
It probably did, yeah. Tom Hanks always sells a lot. He's a big seller.
Except Cloud Atlas.
No, okay. I don't think that was his fault, though. I
mean, so Sully had a $60 million budget, made $126 million worldwide so far, 92 domestic. Huh. Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's all right, yeah.
For a movie that's basically just a real life remake of
a very slow
Flight
crash.
Yeah, yeah. And did you ever see the movie Flight?
No, but it seems like the same thing.
Yeah, it seems like this is the true life version of Flight when Flight seemed like it could have been a true story anyway. Yeah. I kind of liked Flight. Flight was good, I think, until the ending.
There's a lot of movies about people like flying planes into the ground or into the oceans.
Into the ground?
Yeah.
Well, in Flight, he lands it on the ground, but he flies it upside down.
Yeah, I saw that.
So that was pretty cool. Solely, I just don't see any reason to... It just seems like a boring... Clint Eastwood kind of like, yeah, here's another movie to make.
Yeah.
I'm making a movie. Here we go. Let's do it again. It seems like, I don't know, some of these movies that come out, and this is probably sort of antithetical to my whole idea for what the theme of today's show is going to be, but it's kind of an adult drama, but it feels like you're showing up to work on Monday morning and you're like, yeah, okay, what do we have to do today?
Time to go see Sully.
Well, yeah, like, let's make Sully, I guess, because it's a true story thing and it's kind of cool.
Time to fly the plane again, Tom. Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm completely ambivalent on all these top 3. I just don't really care about any of them.
Neither of them really caught my eye at all. Bridget Jones's Baby is number 4 with $4 million. Look to you know.
$4 million seems low for that.
Really? The trailer didn't seem very appealing. Like it was like a lot of the jokes I feel just kind of fell flat.
But if Magnificent Seven gets $35 million just for existing and having a little bit of action, shouldn't Bridget Jones's Baby get that romantic comedy? It exists.
It looks like I don't know. It just looks like a generic, romantic comedy.
Yeah. What have we gone through so far?
I mean, none of them have been. I don't know.
They're all just that generic thing.
I guess. Yeah.
It's weird to me that Bridget Jones is that far down from all the other ones. I guess.
Really, that's higher than I would have expected. Like, I mean, top 10, sure, but I mean, yeah. Snowden's got number 5 nailed down with 4.4 million as well. Sorry.
Oh, they're both.
I think Bridget Jones like 4.1. I forget.
So Snowden, Snowden is an annoying guy. I think in real life.
But now he's what's his name? I can't remember his name.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah,
he's Robin.
Yeah, he's Robin now.
Well, have you seen in the trailer for Snowden, Joseph Gordon-Levitt is actually he's emulating Edward Snowden's annoying voice, even.
Oh, that's funny.
And it really, he looks like Snowden and he sounds just like Snowden, but Snowden is not that appealing, I don't think. I sat through all of Citizen 4, and the main thing I got out of it was... Did you watch any of it?
No.
He's just an annoying guy, I think. I mean, I understand the argument that people have that he did something noble.
You just think he's annoying.
But I think he's an annoying person. I don't have to enjoy watching him talk.
Like really uppity. I've heard some his little video broadcast things that he does every once in a while or whatever, his little interviews when they show
The funniest thing about that documentary, because most of it is actually shot while he was in hiding in a Chinese hotel.
That's fun.
As the whole thing was blowing up.
Okay.
He invited this documentarian to come over, and so when he's talking to the Guardian, that was cool just to kind of know here's actually what was going on. Yeah. But he is an annoying guy, and the funniest thing, you're right, he's totally uppity about all these things. When they show him not, giving scoops to people, he's reading young adult books, he's watching Selena Gomez music videos on TV, and the funniest part of that thing is it's just I can't forget the song. It's like When You're Ready, Come and Get It, that Selena Gomez one. So it's slowly panning as you have that going on over to him just sitting intently on the bed watching it. That was my
little Chinese hotel.
Yeah. I mean, I assume awesome. that didn't make it to the Oliver Stone rendition.
Oh.
But once Oliver Stone,
that's like the post-credit scene. Like after all this stuff has gone down, it's him in the hotel. Listen to Selena.
Well, yeah. I guess I felt like there was a dissonance in that documentary between this highbrow, uppity tech snob and this guy who likes Selena Gomez and young adult conspiracy novels. It seemed like there was something weird there, and I don't know if that was intentional on the filmmaker's part or what. Although Oliver Stone tends to not have... Lately, Oliver Stone tends to not have any of those interesting complexities.
I don't know if I've watched any Oliver Stone.
Any at all? Did you see JFK, Natural Born Killers?
Oh, I've seen Natural Born Killers, I guess. I forgot about that.
That's not the Oliver Stone you have today,
yeah,
I would say.
I guess that's why I didn't think about that.
And
it was a different Stone.
I can't even remember. I know he made that George W. Bush movie that everyone was...
W?
I
didn't watch that.
It's just the same kind of... It's just like very vanilla. You're like, there's... Yeah. It's like he kind of knows when he's onto something that is a controversial and interesting subject, but he just completely waters it down.
Yeah.
So I feel like Snowden's not any different. All 5 of these are just the most blech movies. What's at number 6?
6 is Blair Witch.
That's the most interesting one we've come across so far. What did Blair Witch get?
3.9 million.
See, that's low too.
That's really low. I know.
For a found footage movie.
Yeah,
that's not very good.
You know what? I saw it. What was that, like 2 or 3 days ago? And I thought it's okay. Like I'd say
it's not the most.
It's
groundbreaking.
It's better than like the last like 2 or 3 whatever Paranormal Activities. You know, like
it's probably better than the last like 4 Paranormal Activities.
It has like an interesting subtle twist that they don't like yell it in your face, and that's kind of nice.
Okay.
I think it points for me from that because anytime like there's stuff that's not really like. You know, like in horror movies, they like to like cram stuff down your throat. It's look, it's this. You know, and then like
horror genre is not a subtle genre for the most part.
There's a good movie in there somehow, but it started off as a different film, didn't it?
My understanding is that they hid it, so they didn't tell anybody it was a Blair Witch movie, and they called it The Woods for a long time.
I thought they actually started off making a different movie, and like, we're just gonna make this a Blair Witch one. Like, you know what I mean? I can see them doing more. Like, that's what I thought I was reading, I guess. But yeah, like there's some stuff that like just doesn't seem to fit in there at all. So I figured that might have been why.
So you thought it was like a studio buys it and they're like, yeah, we kind of like it.
This is gonna be Blair Witch now.
But what if it was we're gonna Blair Witch this now? Did you say that made $4 million?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, $4 million. Production budget was only 5. Oh, 16. I think this might what I might have pulled.
Oh, it's not new this week. It came out last week. That's
okay. Yeah.
Like, wait a second.
Like it's made $16 million. That's not bad for
a $5 million budget. That's not bad. But you know they spent a lot on marketing for those things.
So that's not bad.
I think the main thing, though, is if you look at the Blair Witch series, you see that first one made so much money. I mean,
that's what that is. Okay.
It made, what was it?
Wow, 140
million worldwide, 248 million.
Huh.
And they spent $60,000 making that. And even Blair Witch 2, 15 million. That made 47. I never saw that. I know everyone hates it, but I don't really know much about it. Yeah, to go from that, though, to $5 million, and then... Basically, I think it's another shrug. I think we have seen 6 shrugs in a row where people are just like, eh.
That was like the only shrug. I was like, well, I'll pay to see that shrug. I mean, that's all right.
That's
it was an okay shrug. You know, I mean, the weird thing I noticed is I feel like they jumped the gun. Like, I think if they waited like another month, they'd get that Halloween audience.
Yeah, I don't know why they
released it in September. Like, that seems so just dumb to me.
My guess is they thought that it would be popular enough that it would stick around for a month, and they'd still be making Halloween money all October.
It's definitely like a Halloween movie. It's something you'd go see on Halloween or whatever, like that weekend if you want to go see it.
Because there's probably nothing else coming out on Halloween.
No, probably not.
I feel like for the last couple of years, there's not even a horror movie out on Halloween.
So speaking of horror movies, Don't Breathe is 3.8 million.
And that one, to my knowledge, has done really well. I think it came out...
I've heard it was good, but I haven't seen it. I've been meaning to go see it. I just haven't...
Did you see that... did you see the... What was it? The Evil Dead remake?
Yes, I did. It's okay.
It was gross.
Yeah.
It was very gross.
But so was, so were the originals, I guess. They just kind of...
Well...
They made it, like, not as silly gross sometimes.
I think that like, first one is unsettling gross.
Yeah.
And the second one is, like... Kind of
funny,
one's like
gross. Paper cut gross.
Yeah,
you know, it's like there's a bunch of
Darkness
pricks
isn't really
and cuts,
gross.
And everyone's like, I don't like that.
And the Evil Dead remake, though, I just remember I was squirming a little bit. I was like, "This is disturbing."
I think you were supposed to squirm. Though.
Yeah,
like when that one guy's getting hit.
It just wasn't that pleasant.
Got the nail gun going. That poor guy just gets so beat up throughout the movie. That's so funny.
He does not get thrown into 3 different bookshelves, unfortunately.
Nor does he get stuck in any of the ones he gets thrown into.
But Don't Breathe by Fede Alvarez.
Fede Wap.
Well, that's the same guy who directed the Evil Dead remake, and I know people really like this movie. I haven't seen it. I feel like I'm going to get grossed out if I go to it.
I heard it gets really weird at one point. Like it starts getting weirder and weirder.
Okay.
So I mean, like, you know, weirder than you probably think.
Yeah. And they spent just under $10 million, and they've made $120 million off this thing. So I believe that's outgrossed Evil Dead, the remake.
Probably.
So that's interesting. That's impressive that your original horror movie outgrosses an Evil Dead remake. Props for that, I think. That's impressive.
Okay. Yeah.
To get to that point. Because people don't really care about these original movies.
No.
Even though we have actually quite a lot of them on here.
Kind of.
Well, we got Storks, Sully, and Snowden.
Does Snowden count as an original story, though? He didn't come up with that. That was just kind of like what happened.
Well, I guess Sully doesn't either.
Blair Witch isn't... Yeah, Sully...
And Storks is a kid's movie, so okay, fine. We don't really have that many. Don't breathe.
Suicide Squad comes in next at number 8.
Is that still out?
3.1, but yeah, but it's still out.
That's made a lot of money, though, hasn't it?
Oh, unfortunately, yeah. I mean, it's weird how much money it made, even though everyone hated it.
Well, that seems to be a new thing, though. I feel like people didn't people hated.
Even the poster's annoying. You pulled it up, I'm just like, no.
People didn't like Avengers 2, and everybody saw it.
I thought people liked the second Avengers. I didn't like it, but I thought everyone else did.
Oh, I thought people.
I think everyone just assumes everyone else likes these, and then they go.
But this Suicide Squad made a lot of money. $731 million.
Wow. Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
Because they greenlighted Margot Robbie's spin-off sequel.
Did you see this one? I can't remember.
Yeah, I saw it. It was definitely not worth it.
Yeah,
it was like painfully bad.
There's something weird because I feel like everyone hates these DC movies now because you got the DC Extended Universe, but they make a lot of money. Like no one liked Batman versus Superman.
I think they're all just okay is the problem. Like there's just nothing great about them. But they're not.
That's Marvel's whole business plan.
They're not awful. It's Suicide Squad I'd say was awful, but I mean Batman versus Superman it's okay. It's I've definitely seen a lot worse movies. So
I'd say it was better than Civil War.
Okay, yeah, I could do that.
But that's not saying much.
No, not at all.
But no one really liked that, and it got $873 million. No one really liked Suicide Squad. It got $731 million. Man of Steel, $668 million. I think everyone was expecting more from that one, but somehow I don't know. I think they're not quite as successful as Marvel, but somehow they've been able to crack into that same weird everyone will go see this regardless of whether people like it.
I think it's just familiarity at this point.
Familiarity. Familiar. They know what it is.
They do. They know who the Batman is, and they're like, well, I'll go see that. That's Batman.
Because Batman was in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he shows up for 2 seconds.
And you got the Jared Leto Joker crap.
Yeah.
So, I don't even think there's anything more to say about that. What's this next one? I don't even know what this is.
I don't know. I was hoping you'd know.
When the bow breaks.
The bow breaks. There's a bow that broke, and they got $2.5 million for it, so it couldn't have been that bad.
When the bow breaks.
When the bow breaks. How the bow breaks?
How the bow breaks?
No, it's
where the how breaks.
Where and when the how breaks.
So I'm gonna look this up because I really don't know what this movie is.
Yeah, so you can be surprised for both of us.
It's going really slow, so it might not have.
We didn't quite do our homework for this one segment.
I didn't know there was going to be one either that
I assumed you know. I thought you just knew what all these were.
Young, professional, and successful, John and Laura Taylor desperately want to have a baby but are unable to conceive. After exhausting all other options, the couple hire Anna, a beautiful young woman who agrees to become a surrogate mother for the Taylors. Everything seems fine until...
Ooh, it's got a nice 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
6%? Oh,
that's
my
fantastic.
God.
Oh, I should have put the Rotten Tomatoes scores in here, too. That'd be fun.
We'll know that for next week. We'll get those on there.
We're constantly evolving.
When the bow breaks.
Apparently it's really bad.
Apparently it's made $26 million, though.
Hey.
That's not bad for a movie that no one likes at all.
Yeah, not bad for 6%.
I feel like if there's a theme to the box office for this week, it's
low
this isn't bad for a movie no one likes.
Yeah, right. Well, I think it's just that those are the only movies out. It's just
no one likes anything.
There's nothing else out to see, and so movies that aren't even that good end up in the top 10.
We're in that I don't know, that drought of movies of the year where I just don't see very much. So, I mean, 10 million, 6% on Rotten Tomatoes makes $26 million. Not too bad.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Number 10 is another kids movie, Kubo and the Two Strings.
1.1 million. See, that's interesting, too.
Yeah, that's probably...
I'm surprised that made it on there, because that's a foreign one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
I think so.
Interesting.
It looks Disney, though. It looks like a Disney kids movie type
Disney-y.
thing. Yeah, Disney-esque.
Disney-esque.
But yeah, that's our top 10. No, nothing too exciting.
Can you run through them one more time just for people real quick?
Number 1, Magnificent Seven. Number 2, Storks. 3 goes to Sully. 4 is Bridget Jones's Baby. 5, Mr. Snowden.
Mr.
Snowden. Number 6, once again, Blair Witch. Number 7 goes to Don't Breathe. 8, Suicide Squad. 9, When the Bow Breaks. And 10, Kubo and the Two Strings. So yeah,
that's an interesting list. I hope that we get some movies that people want to see. Going
interesting
forward.
Variety, kind of. Kids movies, westerns.
Don't Breathe is
Blair Witch sequel.
I'm the one. That's the one I'm most proud of. I think on there.
Okay.
Don't Breathe being an original horror movie making some money.
Mm-hmm.
So to transition a little bit to interesting headlines in the news, I find it interesting that we have this trend of movies. Or actually of TV projects. Well, I guess my question before I even get into that is, does Netflix count as TV or does it count as movie?
I think it counts as TV.
I lean towards that as well. I don't know why.
I think if you're watching TV on Netflix, it's still TV.
Well, but I mean, like, if is a made-for-Netflix movie the equivalent of like a made-for-TV movie?
Doesn't matter.
We're in an age where it doesn't matter. You're right.
I mean, yeah, in a way. I mean, I think it's just a movie. I think at that point it's just a movie.
Well, but they have. I've had problems with in the past. Even just their formatting seems to emulate a movie. Like they have those cheesy, like they fade on Netflix, an original Netflix original programming. Even just even the movies. Like some of them, not all of them. But it's interesting that you see these streaming formats are trying really hard to get filmmakers to move over, and so they've got. Christopher Guest has Mascots coming out in a couple weeks.
Yes.
And
I saw a trailer for it across my whole screen yesterday.
We'll talk about it in a second here. So we got that. And then also interestingly, Joe Swanberg just did a Netflix show called Easy.
It's Joe Swanberg? I didn't know that.
That's Joe Swanberg. It's pretty good. Yeah, okay. I liked it.
I watched Flaked, but it's not that great.
I don't even know what that is.
It's another Netflix original. It's got Will Arnett.
Oh, yeah.
And like I don't know.
You don't know if it's good?
Well, the problem is like I don't know if it's supposed to be funny. Like it seems like it's kind of funny sometimes, but not really. And other times it seems kind of serious. But it's like a guy who works at like a rehab type thing, but like not like more just like an AA meeting type or rager kind of thing. But it's Will Arnett, and it's like I don't know. It's strange.
You don't even know.
I haven't like formed a solid opinion on it yet. But I've watched like the first 3 episodes, and I'm just like,
we'll check back in when you've watched those. Right. So, but no, you get that, and then the one that I'm most excited for, I think next week actually, it's the Woody Allen and Amazon show called Crisis in 6 Scenes.
Oh yeah,
which
I forgot about that.
That looks funny.
I forgot that was happening.
I'm
figured
excited
it was already
for that.
out or something.
No, soon.
Oh man,
but it's this trend where you're luring these successful independent filmmakers to essentially the streaming format, and I would guess that they're probably getting paid a lot more.
Oh yeah, probably
to do them there, and I don't know why exactly. I guess I'm curious what makes that an interesting trend to begin with. Why? I mean, why do they want to?
I think Netflix is a pretty solid.
Why can they not make money doing movies though? Why do they have to go to Netflix?
Well, with Netflix, you have pretty much like guaranteed subscribers. Like you get paid whether your movie, like not you get paid, but you know what I mean. Like they get paid whether your movie gets watched or not. So I mean,
but they know that the movie's going to get watched.
But no one's going to get rid of their Netflix because there's one movie on there they don't like, kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So I mean, they can afford to just throw anything up there.
Isn't it depressing though to think that Christopher Guest is probably going to have a lot more people watch this movie simply because it was paid for and is premiering on Netflix than if he just had it.
I think it's good that he's going to make a lot of money. I know it sucks that it's like the.
But
I know
Netflix,
it sucks.
though.
I know it sucks that it's not coming to a theater. But I mean, still, they've been showing some of their Netflix, or that was Amazon. I guess has been playing theirs in actual theaters because Neon Demon was at like theaters. I thought Netflix was doing the same thing.
Amazon has I believe it's 90 days in theaters that they guarantee when they sign to.
See, I could see them maybe doing something like that eventually. But
I think we're seeing the end of theaters start.
Oh no, it's not going to happen like that.
I think it's the end of interesting movies in theaters is already kind of on the way.
At least there are still interesting movies though.
Yeah,
it's an unfortunate trade-off. That we'll get more interesting stuff, but it's not going to be on the silver screen.
Did you watch the trailer for Mascots?
No, like it was just it was like forced upon me when I signed into my Netflix. Like it was like that top banner, and it's like you might like this trailer, and then I just kind of scrolled down. But I knew what it was.
Like, I have to say, I will definitely watch it.
It doesn't look that great from the 5 seconds I saw on the trailer.
It looks like a stereotypical joke about what a Christopher Guest movie might be. As opposed
the vibe I got was that it's best in show, but the people are the dogs. And it's like
that's a phenomenal way.
Like that's the vibe I get from it.
That's fantastic.
Like it's the mascot competition, and
people are the dogs.
People are the dogs. Like it's just like.
I don't think I could have described it. I would have talked for 10 minutes. For 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
And I never would have got anything as good as that. I'm going to leave it there.
Okay.
I agree with you.
The story you meant to talk about.
The story that interests me is I'm kind of fascinated by when creative partnerships dissolve and what exactly makes them do that. Like this year, we've seen some interesting ones. One of them is Christopher Guest because he used to co-write with Eugene Levy, and they did all of their mockumentaries except for Spinal Tap. He wrote them with Eugene Levy, starting with Family Tree, and then now Mascots. He's written them with Jim Pittick instead. And Eugene Levy has not been a part of them at all. And so presumably there's some falling out, or just creatively they parted ways.
They broke up.
Eugene Levy has other,
he's
American Pie sequels
right now,
to go make or something. I don't know. But yeah, the other ones that interest me, like I'm always trying to learn about Wes Anderson and Owen Wilson and how they wrote together because
poor Owen Wilson, even his movie choices recently.
He chooses them. Well, then Luke Wilson even has said. Luke Wilson said that he's like, I never see Wes and Owen, creatively work together.
Oh, they don't hang out anymore.
This was even back in Royal Tenenbaums when they were actually writing the movies together. He's like, I don't really know what their process. I never see them.
Weird.
So I'm curious, and they don't work together in terms of writers anymore. Obviously, Owen Wilson pops up in the movies still. You saw Ricky Gervais had the David Brent movie, the Office character, come out without Stephen Merchant involved at all.
That's weird.
They clearly had a falling out.
How badly did that go?
It's going to premiere on Netflix everywhere outside of the UK.
I thought it already came out.
It came out in the UK.
Oh.
And it sounds like it didn't do spectacularly.
Does it surprise me?
No, because it didn't. It's just Ricky Gervais is not.
I think everyone's kind of gotten bored of him a little bit. No offense to him.
He's gotten worse. He was at his best working with Stephen Merchant, though.
Yeah.
And so this is part of my whole thing. What I've just mapped out are interesting, I would say successful creative partnerships. Creatively, commercially successful, you cannot deny that Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman are ridiculously successful commercially. Definitely not creatively, though. They're behind the new Star Trek movies, the first two.
Okay.
They wrote the first two Transformers movies. They get basically all the terrible, trashy movies that are really successful tend to be theirs, and they've done a lot of TV lately. And so the interesting story with them is, so they used to write basically all these movies together. So they would write every crappy writing gig that was going to be a successful movie, even though it was going to be bad, was going to be Kurtzman Orci.
Okay.
And so they sort of split up a few years ago, where Kurtzman signed on to direct a Mummy movie for Universal because Universal's launching its own, I don't know, monster expanded universe. It's whatever stupid thing.
With the Mummy?
It's going to be like...
Is Brendan Fraser going to be in it?
No, it's a new Mummy. Tom Cruise stars in it, so...
if you have to replace...
You're on board with that?
I'm okay with this.
What?
I was watching Eyes Wide Shut last night. So
that's a good one.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
So
well, he's good in that.
Okay, I can see that.
I would say that Eyes Wide Shut, Magnolia, and Tropic Thunder are the only three Tom Cruise roles that I really like.
It's so great.
But anyway, so Kurtzman signs on to direct that without Orci's involvement.
Okay, I'll go see it.
And so that's happening, and then at the same time, they needed a new director for Star Trek 3 because JJ was doing Star Wars 7.
So we got James Wan, of course.
Before it wasn't James Wan. It was Justin Lin.
Oh, sorry.
And then racist.
Jeez, no.
So basically, JJ was like, "Hey, my buddy Bob Orci can do it."
Oh, okay.
And, that's my joke about it. So he actually does get the gig to write and direct Star Trek 3. And they were on an expedited schedule to try to get it out really quick so they could get it out this year. Yeah. And then something happened where they apparently didn't like the script. Not only did they not use the script, they fired him, completely threw out his script, hired Simon Pegg to come in, and then hired Justin Lin to come do it.
Jeez.
So he's completely out of it. And he hasn't really had any other gigs that much in the meantime. And now new news has come out that the company that Kurtzman and Orci had together called, I believe, KO Paper Products was their company, is officially over now. And Kurtzman is taking over all those deals with a new company, so Orci's completely out.
Interesting. What
so
do we got here? Hawaii 5-0, Sleepy Hollow,
Scorpion.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
So some lovely stuff in the new Star Trek show that's coming out. But Orci's completely shut out of all of this now.
Dang, bye Orci.
So I'm really curious. I don't know what happened there, but
yeah, that's interesting.
That is interesting that no scandal happened in terms of like the public does not know of any scandal, but it sounds like everybody just stopped working with him all of a sudden. And so that's an interesting story to me.
Maybe he was just like riding in on Kurtzman's like coattails, you know, he just didn't really do anything.
I don't know. I don't know that when you have a Transformers script, is anybody are there coattails at all?
I don't know. They made an absurd amount of money off those. And
yes, but
except for like the Marky Mark one, I think that one bombed pretty hard.
No, I think it made money.
Did it really?
I'm pretty sure they all make money.
Wow.
So that's my big news for you. Like I was like, what in the world? That's a business news thing because that company is gone and he's dead. What does he do now?
Probably gonna start a new company.
I know, but I want to know. I want to, if anybody listening to this ever has scoops on the end of these creative duos, I'm always curious.
Call the tip line.
Tip line. Yeah. Email us at contact@fathersonproductionsllc.com. My last news story for the week before you predict the top 3 box office for next week is California has enacted a law basically saying that if actors request that their age not be displayed on IMDb, that will be allowed. They don't have to display.
I'm going to send in a formal request to have my age taken off IMDb.
I don't think your age is on there.
Damn it!
But I think
I can probably still do it.
It must be something with Pro, but I don't really know. I don't know that that's
pay to put your age on there.
You do.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like of all the details you have to pay to include.
Well, I think you can. Yeah, I don't think you have much information on your page. You just have a page.
It's just my face. And that's
I don't think your face is even on it.
What?
You need a Pro to put your face on there.
That's ridiculous.
But I guess the dilemma here is I don't know. Do people need to know the age of an actor?
My opinion is it doesn't matter. But do you really need a law saying that? I don't know. Is it that big of a deal having your age up somewhere?
That's a good question.
That's my opinion. I mean, it's not like you couldn't walk up and be like, "Hey, how old are you?" And they'd probably tell you how old they are.
Or they'd lie.
Yeah, but that's
Can we lie about our ages?
Sure. They could lie on IMDb too.
I bet some do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. So
you could probably just also not put it on there, like you
probably I don't have Pro. So
you can probably just leave that spot blank.
Oh, I forgot.
What?
End of Brangelina.
Oh yeah, you skipped the other one.
I forgot to talk all about that.
Brad
a huge piece of news.
They're gone.
Speaking
of breakups,
the best thing that ever happened, I think, with this was you saying Brangelina has fallen, and this joke that Gerard Butler would have to stop Brad and Angelina from breaking up.
One of his weird romantic comedies that he's in, except
mixed with action.
It's an Olympus Has Fallen.
I would so watch that. Well, it's basically like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but from the perspective of Gerard Butler trying to make sure that they don't kill each other.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you totally watch that?
Sure,
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
Okay.
But
pitch it to them. We'll get them back together through the movie.
So let's do your top 3 for next week, and then we'll do another ad break.
Top 3, number 1, I'm going to say Deepwater Horizon, just because, Marky Mark, big film.
How much money do you think it's going to make?
Oh. In the first week, or just the weekend?
That weekend.
I'll give it a solid $30 million.
$30 million, okay. That's a big. I think that's a $150 million budget.
I can see that. But like the first weekend, in the middle of September, I don't know why, but I don't see it being like a big.
I can see that one flopping. To be honest,
really, okay. I think a lot of people go see it just because it looks like it looks like one of those movies people will go see. Talk about. I don't know how else to put it, but it just
Right.
And then number 2, we go to Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
You got the weird Burton effect.
Yeah, which I don't like Mr. Burton's new stuff, but people seem to lap it up.
The one that I liked the most was Dark Shadows, and everyone hated it.
Oh, I thought it was funny. Like when he wakes up and there's the big glowing McDonald's sign, he
Mr. Stufferly. I thought it was funny. I have to admit.
Yeah, it wasn't like really that good, but it was definitely funny. I saw what was it, Edward Scissorhands at the Alamo recently, and I forgot.
How'd that hold up?
It was, it's good. I forgot how silly it was. I haven't seen it much since I don't even know how long it's been. But yeah, I forgot just how, I don't know. It was a good goofy movie, and I missed kind of his down to earth weird. Just I don't know.
I don't know if down to earth is quite.
It's like a down to earth kind of surreal. Like it's a really weird kind of calm surreal. Number 3.
Oh, wait, how much is Miss Peregrine going to make?
We're going to go $20 million on that one.
20 million. Oh, so 30-20. Yeah. These seem like estimates.
3, 2, 1.
It helps your chances actually, though, because
spread it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then Magnificent Seven's number 3. I think it's going to hang in there, just because I don't know. This was just its first weekend out, right? It's kind of a big release.
All right.
So I think it'll hold on to at least a 3rd position spot.
How much are we looking at?
How much more or total?
For the weekend, just
for the weekend. In that weekend, I'd say probably gonna be 15.
15. All right. So we're looking for you guys. Let us know what you think. So Chris has Deepwater Horizon at about 30 million, Miss Peregrine at about 20 million, and Magnificent Seven around 15 million. They're very rounded numbers. So
how specific am I supposed to be?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes.
I'm not going to guess anything more specific than that. It's not worth it. Who cares how much the last dollar it makes?
All right, so we're going to go to another quick break. We'll come back with story time.
Oh, yes. We are brought to you today by the Supernauts, pop culture's junk drawer. Head over to thesupernauts.com for the latest movie news, editorials, reviews, podcasts, and comic strips like Studio Head. Debate, discuss, geek out. Head over today.
Okay, so it's 1994, all right?
Oh, man.
You ready?
Yeah.
So it's 1994, and you're Steven Spielberg.
Cool.
And you just come off of a year where you made Jurassic Park. It almost made $1 billion. Basically, you're on top of the world in terms of the commercial film business. That same year, you also had Schindler's List come out, which would go on to get you Oscars for Best Director and Best Picture. You have won the artistic, the commercial, the critical, all the worlds. The world is yours. And you're Steven Spielberg. What do you do?
I probably make a bad business decision. I'm guessing that's what happens, right? I'm assuming that's where this goes.
That's interestingly perceptive.
I mean, you don't have that kind of wonderful story until you screw it up at the end. I mean, that's the only way you can.
Yeah, because where do you go from there?
Yeah, you realize does it direct ET next? And then...
Actually, the next thing he directs was The Lost World, so that didn't go too well. Yeah.
Wow, okay, I didn't think that'd be.
He took a few years off.
That'd be the immediate next one.
That was his next one.
He should have just retired, but I mean,
Well, it's an interesting story because what he does is then he gets together with some business partners and they form DreamWorks.
Really?
They decide they're going to make their own studio.
Okay, sure.
And so, which I think makes complete sense. Yeah. And just from a business standpoint, he's on top of the world. He's super rich. Mm-hmm. Everyone, basically, he can do whatever he wants anyway. Why not just completely control the system? Yeah. There aren't that many prominent studios. There definitely aren't a lot of studios that get created, in the contemporary age that they gain any notoriety. And so, what
happened? I'm guessing is
what happened.
So what happens?
Well, the stuff that you think of when you think of DreamWorks is probably more on the animation side, right?
Like Shrek.
Yeah,
it's kind of the first one that jumps to mind for some reason.
So they went and they started to make the movies. I think. I guess what's interesting is that they didn't make. It didn't turn into just a vehicle for him to fund and make all his own movies all on his own, which makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, that's what you think you'd do with it. Vertically integrate, essentially.
Yeah, and so it's instead what they do is they have an animation side and they have just the film side that's more of like the non-kids side, basically. Yeah, and so Spielberg is technically in charge, and he's used it for a lot of his movies.
I had no idea that he started that.
Yeah, and the first DreamWorks one was The Peacemaker in 1997. But the first Spielberg one was Amistad. And so they do that. It was them and HBO Films, which was definitely, it's better than The Lost World. And so you can
Small Soldiers, all right.
Yeah, they've got an interesting mix. If you look through Mouse Hunt, Polly, Small Soldiers, Saving Private Ryan, Ants, Prince of Egypt, they're kind of doing a lot of things that...
Galaxy Quest, eh?
There's a mix of stuff that's... Basically, you're not seeing them pigeonhole themselves. He didn't just make it to make art films. He made it, obviously, to make movies that make money, but also ones that have more of the prestige side. And so you can kind of see that going on. And I would say that the stuff that they were most successful in, like you have your Minority Reports, they did actually a Woody Allen contract that went through some of his worst movies ever, unfortunately.
None of these are really movies that I enjoy. Is the worst part. I mean, I'm sad to say that, but I mean,
and it didn't really work. It's kind of where it goes. Yeah, they didn't really make money, and he still uses it, but it's not a studio on its own that can really sustain itself. It's something that essentially functions more as a production company for other movies, for like studios to use, for distributors to take. And so it's interesting to me because now he's got this thing called it's connected with Amblin Partners. Okay. And so their first one was the BFG and The Light Between Oceans. They've got The Girl on the Train coming out this year. Interesting. And you're seeing once again this mix of these sort of like overtly commercial type products or like the BFG where it's supposed to be that and it flops miserably, or The Girl on the Train, which kind of is it's going after that Gone Girl type audience. I think
the vibe I got too.
And I think it looks pretty good, honestly.
I'm almost done with that finally.
And finally, yeah. And so they did that, and then they have The Light Between Oceans. But it seems like they want to be able to make movies that fit that demographic that no longer exists anymore. And the funny story with The Light Between Oceans is basically so they signed this deal with Disney. DreamWorks and Disney signed a deal where DreamWorks could go make like X amount of movies. The Light Between Oceans was the first movie that they made for them. They showed to Disney. Disney says, "Don't make anything like this ever again." And then it comes out and makes no money, and it's a complete flop. But I thought it was a pretty good movie. I have to say, like whether that's the kind of movie that everyone wants to see or not, it was a really well shot movie. Great actors. It had a fun tone.
It's not Disney though, I don't think.
No, and Disney had to resurrect its own label for adult movies. Like adult dramas.
It's Touchstone.
Touchstone, yeah. Okay. Touchstone's kind of been... They've used it a little bit, but it's mainly just at the end of the movies they'll have that. But they don't... Touchstone used to be kind of all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Disney paid for The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. I'm never going to get over how weird the fact that is. Yeah. So Touchstone used to make those adult dramas that they don't really make anymore. Now Touchstone's not really out there. DreamWorks isn't really doing anything. They're sort of lumped together in movies that now the studio is ashamed of. And I'm completely...
I think it's jumped to more of the independent film scene for those adult dramas. It's shifted over there.
Everything now is you spend $5 million or you spend $200 million.
Yeah.
And that's basically... I mean, you're on one side of that spectrum or the other. It's not always exactly that black and white, but it is weird to me that people are much more likely... I think if The Light Between Oceans was a $500,000 independent movie that you heard about on the festival circuit as opposed to just a natural release, a lot more people would have gone to see it.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know quite what to attribute that to. Why is this happening? What's happening to our hood?
I don't know. Like it's... I'm not an economics major. I can't explain to you the way the music.
Why are we more likely to watch an interesting drama if we know that it was not a studio movie?
I think it sounds more interesting if it's an independent film.
Are we just so anti-corporation right now?
I think so. Well, I think
is that part of it?
They don't pay for the interesting films, so they don't make them. So we don't look to them for it. I think it's just kind of like we know to go to look.
But when they do, we're still so trained to think that they don't.
So we don't even think about it.
And then we ignore it. Yeah. And it's weird. Isn't that a weird cycle?
It's hard to filter out the good and the bad movies all the time. So there's some you just kind of be like, well, I just want to see that one.
Yeah, I think there. It's really hard to tell what movie's going to be worth 2 hours of your time, and what's not. And I agree. Basically, are we past the point of trusting studios to give us interesting movies that they didn't buy off the festival circuit?
Yeah, probably.
When did that happen?
I don't know. Probably in 2010 or so.
Yeah, I think I missed it, and that's why I'm realizing it now, and I don't quite know when to attribute it to or what it was. I guess because even 10 years ago you had a lot of these movies coming out. You had Touchstone making movies. Touchstone stopped making movies. They actually their contract with Jerry Bruckheimer stopped because Jerry Bruckheimer wanted to continue to make his kind of like the Bad Boys type movies. He would make those action macho sort of movies that. Those were through Disney because they were through Touchstone, like Armageddon, even some of those early Michael Bay ones. But now they just want to do the tentpoles. They want to do franchises. Basically, they're like, if you don't want to do Pirates of the Caribbean 6, then I don't know if we...
Get out.
Yeah, essentially. So he's like, fine, I'll do Pirates of the Caribbean 5, and then I'm out. And so it's not that... this trend hasn't been around for that long, but it's definitely sometime in the last 10 years... They just stopped caring. They just stopped trying. And I guess, do we attribute it to when, in 2008, with the stock market collapse, studios did decide to make fewer movies and put more into the big ones. But is the fact that they decided to throw basically all their eggs into fewer baskets, is that when audiences were just like, all right, well, you don't really care about these movies anyway, so we're not going to even see the ones that you put out?
Well, I think half of it is they don't even get publicized as much. I mean, you see the same commercials for the same 3 or 4 movies.
That could be.
No matter what. And then,
but if you give The Light Between Oceans $50 million more in ads, would it have made much more?
No, but more people would see the ads.
More people would see the ads.
Maybe a few more people would go. You don't know. I mean, it depends on how well the marketing works.
I wonder if the best way to do it is... I think maybe these Amazon and these Netflix ones work because the advertising for them is just part of they're just going to put a banner up for all their own products. You're already
flipping up through all these things anyways, it's just...
and as opposed to having to compete in the market of ads for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all it is?
It's just a walled garden, essentially, I'd say.
And so maybe the future is just on streaming because that's the only way that you're ever going to get the ad money that's going to be relevant. That's depressing, though.
I know, it really sucks.
I'm depressed.
Yeah.
This show has depressed me the more I think about some of these things.
Well, you just got to get a nice home theater set up with like a popcorn maker and your Chemex, and then you don't even need the theater anymore.
I don't know, any last thoughts on this? Does it bother you too?
It does, because I mean, I love going to the theater, and it'd be sad if there are no good movies to go see in the theater anymore.
Yeah, how long do you give theaters?
Oh, plenty of time. I don't think they're going to go anywhere for a long time. Like, everyone's been saying it's going to be the end of the theater for as long as I can remember.
But it's the end of people going to see interesting movies in the theater, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, but I mean, if they are making enough money off those big films, they can afford to have 1 or 2 screenings of less popular films in there too.
I guess.
I mean, yeah.
That's what we're banking on.
Sure,
anyway,
yeah.
Literally.
Film streams will be here for a while. They're opening up a new location, so
I still don't quite understand the logistics of that, but I guess
that's probably never going to happen either. Kind of like the remodel of the original theater was never going to happen, and it's just all going to fall apart.
Well, I'm curious to see anyway. So, I figured this might be a good time to say that the second half of this show, we kind of dragged on a little bit longer than maybe we would if we had a segment for correspondence. We are actively looking for correspondence to do pieces for this show. So if you have any interest in movies and want to do a little piece, it can literally be a conversation like we just had. It can be
a quick little blurb, whatever you want to say.
It can be a blurb. It can be like an essay, like a This American Lifestyle essay about something related to movies. Yeah. It can be literally anything you want. We're interested in hearing from you because we want every episode, in addition to the latest news and the box office results, to have its own theme. And so I picked the theme this week, and so we just kind of talked it through as kind of an example of what kind of stuff we're interested in.
Just how this is going to work.
Yeah, and so we're definitely interested in hearing from you guys. So you can contact us on Facebook. We've got a 5-quadrant page.
Yes, we do.
Or you can email us at contact@FatherSonProductionsLLC.com. So those are our main things there. Also, look out for, we have a movie that we made.
Oh, yeah. Like a third movie. I was going to say second, but it's your third, my second.
Is it my third?
Third movie?
Oh, I'm talking adaptation here.
Oh, I thought we were thinking even farther ahead.
We'll do both.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
So adaptation was a movie that we made last year.
Oh, yes.
It comes out on Amazon Video.
Oh, on Tuesday.
Oh, man. September 27th. You can find it on there.
That's going to be tomorrow for you guys.
The streaming future and the death of theaters.
You're talking about how it's killing,
yeah, exactly.
It's killing us, but we're helping it.
We're helping it. And then we have another one called Naomi Jones.
Yes, coming out next year.
Chris is currently sound mixing.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot of fun.
We got some stuff. We'll have all sorts of updates on that. You can like us on Facebook for some of that. We don't have a Twitter because I just hate having to log into a new Twitter.
Yeah, I always forget about my Twitter. There's always like a 2 or 3 year gap between tweets, and
then it's like you're like Thomas Pynchon. You work really hard for years, and then a new one comes out. And no one knows when it's coming.
I finally perfect that one tweet.
Yes, exactly.
That's it, yeah.
And so otherwise, you can look at also the FatherSonProductionsLLC.com site for relevant news. And if you have a podcast that you would want us to be involved in, you can contact us on there. This is, like I said, our prologue for this type of show, so we're still kind of...
It's just a warm-up.
It's a warm-up, so it may not be completely smooth yet. We're not a well-oiled machine, but we are a machine.
We will be.
Machine is the first step. Then you enter the oil in after you have something to pour that oil into.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta have
a machined oil.
Where do you put the oil?
In the
what do you call it?
In the crankcase?
We have to. Yeah.
That's what it's called?
We have our crank. This is our crankcase.
You're unscrewing the little. I don't even know what it'd be called. That thing, the oil cap. Yeah. You know how to change your oil, I hope.
No, I need to actually. It's really bad.
Yeah, okay.
It's
you need to know, or you know how, and you need to do it.
Both. Anyway, right, we're off. This has been 5 quadrant. I keep wanting to say 4 quadrant. 5 quadrant.
It's the quadrant that comes after
the movie. Yes, with a movie business podcast. Mm-hmm. And actually, I heard 5 quadrant on Deadline. That's where I got it from because I don't really.
What does it mean?
4 quadrant makes sense to me because it's all ages and genders. So 5 quadrant, I don't understand where the 5th one comes in.
It's the whole circle.
But I thought it was funny because Ben and I actually have been using that as a joke, 5 quadrant, and then I see Deadline starts using it, and I was like, well, I guess
what did they mean by it?
I don't know. I can't.
know?
I haven't figured out how something because if there are 4 quadrants, I don't know where a 5th quadrant is.
It's a whole different thing. Like
It's like the pentagram of quadrants.
Oh,
so we're off. This has been 5 quadrants. I want to say like we're produced by a bunch of people, but as of this episode, it's just us this week. So once again, I'm Tom Noblock.
I'm Chris Fago.
And be sure to tune in every Monday for the new episode.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week, everybody. I just copied you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. No, it's fine. I mean.